Like to welcome everybody to the second meeting for the month of July, regular town board meeting. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Jeff is not able to be here this evening. I want to move on. Approval of minutes.
Make a approval of minutes for a regular town board meeting, July 13th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Supervisors report revenues, general fund, $127,788.82. Highway fund, $706.53. Sewer district number one, $1,627.98. Sewer district number two, $12.50. Sewer district number three, $935.36. Total revenues, $131,071.19. Disbursements, general fund, $190,256.45. Highway fund, $31,479.10. Lighting district number one, $292.99. Lighting district number two, $562.55. Lighting district number three, $257.83. Sewer district number one, $21,771.01. Sewer district number two, $10,113.07. Sewer district number three, $20,384.46. Total disbursements, $275,117.46. Payment of claims.
Payment of claims, general fund A, $22,965.26. General OVB, $1,037.08. Highway fund DA, $5,636.98. Highway OVDB, $12,207.99. Sewer district number one, $20,476.15. Sewer district number two, $163,259.97. Sewer district number three, $5,850.99. Total transfers, $231,434.42.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Committee reports. Phil, got anything for us?
Yeah, I got, two new guys have started recently, so I'm breaking them in on, maintaining some dirt roads and filling potholes for the time being. Katie Company has postponed their process until Monday, so I'm expecting them to come in. As soon as I get them out of our hair, we'll move on to patching some of our paved roads. Mowing's all done except for our sewer or the water treatment and the landfill. We're waiting on parts for the mower. That seems to be taking some wear and tear this year, but we'll be up and running shortly. That's it.
Thank you. Dan, you got anything on public safety?
Well, the school superintendent has left and we have an interim superintendent, so the Schenectady County Sheriff Department needed to be in touch with the interim since they're doing the
Oh, is it drill?
yes. So they had to be in touch, so I put him in touch with that. So there's communication going on with the school.
Parks Committee, not much to report other than the fact, this is week 3 of the youth program. They had a great turnout in spite of some rainy days. There's been close to 50 people per day, close to 50 kids that have been there and involved in a lot of different craft activities. One of their activities this week was to make tie-dye t-shirts And I got a surprise, they sent one over for me. If, maybe I'll surprise everybody and wear one sometime. But, they've had a real good turnout down there and just really hats off to all the young people, the counselors and everybody involved in that. They've done a great job. Stuart, you got anything?
Nothing for sewer.
Okay. Is Bill Brown was? Okay. We're closing out the Ryanville project. That was one of the big items that was on that. On the payment of claims. And the papers have been submitted for that to get the funds back from the state. IT.
The only thing I've got, I've been going back and forth with Josh Riley from Civic Plus. And we're looking at the codification project. And he sent me a lot of good stuff. I need to look through his proposal. But he's gone through what we have on our websites. And so he's drawing from the information that we've already posted. And to give us an idea and as he calls it, our talking points that we'll have for our proposal coming up.
Okay, the only thing I have to report ongoing to the lack of broadband in certain areas, Sheldon Road that we talked about last time, where there's no determination of what type of cable is over there. I have another contact that I know personally with Verizon, and they were going to try to get me some information specifically as to what the cable is over there, so we can get.
There is a cable.
There is a cable. We need to find out. Does it go back to the old, maybe the prior, I tried DSL was the word I was looking for. Does it go back to DSL? Does it go back to an earlier technology, or is it something that can be used today? And so they were going to have one of their technical people go over and take a look at it, get back to me. Hopefully we get that soon and we'll get a determination. Because that would solve a big problem if that was something that was used.
And the state has added nothing new on the broadband grants. The only thing they've done is they've added a link for updates. And we've already submitted, an email. So hopefully they'll be disseminating some information. Hopefully.
Okay, thanks. All right, before we go to business meeting, anybody have anything else?
Okay. Motion to fully support Schenectady County's declaration of a state of emergency. Whereas the Duanesburg Town Board supports legal and safe immigration into the United States and rightfully encourages people from all over the world to seek legal United States citizenship. And whereas the Duanesburg Town Board acknowledges and applauds this country's long history of legal immigration and celebrates the contributions that millions of legal immigrants have made to help build this nation. And whereas the current policies of the federal government regarding U.S. border security has created a human rights crisis at the border. And whereas the reference policies have created a federal crisis that has left the nation and the states, counties, cities, and all local governments unprepared and unable to handle the overwhelming volume of migrants into our communities. And whereas the city of New York and state of New York continue to shift the burden to local governments in communities across upstate New York, and whereas the local governments across the country do not have the capacity or resources to receive and sustain the influx of migrants under these circumstances. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Duanesburg does hereby fully support Schenectady County's declaration of a state of emergency. Now therefore be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Duanesburg calls upon the county of Schenectady to take action with regard to the situation as follows. 1, prohibiting the mass relocation of migrants as described above to any community within the county. And 2, forbidding any municipality, persons, business, or entities within the county to partake in the transportation and or housing of any migrants without a license issued by the county and the local government in which the migrant is seeking housing.
A second.
Discussion on this is, action taken this month, I'm sorry, this past week by the county of Schenectady. And just for the record, just want to state that I believe that most, if not all of us in this room are products of, people who have immigrated into this country. And I know, speaking for myself, just going back a couple of generations, family members came here, for lack of a better term, essentially as indentured servants, went through Ellis Island, where it was on an island, so that they determined if there were any communicable diseases that would not be mixed into the mainland. So this is nothing to be misconstrued by anyone as anti-immigrant. As we stated in the beginning of this resolution, 100% in favor of people who come in the proper way. But the current situation is not acceptable on a number of fronts. Clerk, please call roll.
Aye.
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 Motion to approve the addition of the use of town vehicles to the employee handbook, whereas the town of Dwaynesburg has duly adopted employee handbook, whereas the town board and the town staff have reviewed an attached addition to the employee handbook on the use of town vehicles. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the attached addition to the employee handbook addressing the use of town vehicles and directs that the addition be inserted in the employee handbook and distributed to all town employees.
Second.
Discussion on this, the agent who handles the insurance for the town made us aware of some provisos that if they're inserted in a manual would save the town some money on the insurance premiums. The premiums would have gone up had we not enacted this. So it gave us an opportunity to include some other good items in. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilor Blunt,
Aye.
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 Motion to accept the resignation of Brandy Fall as the deputy town clerk.
Second it.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Aye.
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 Okay. We got another resolution.
Okay, I am going to just think about.
so you wanted to explain this for
Yeah,
one?
let me explain what this is, yes. We have been endeavoring to have an addition put on the back of this building. When this room was made the boardroom, we don't have a bathroom down here. We need to have ADA compliant bathroom on the main floor. There are also some other improvements that we want to make. And the goal is to achieve this using the ARPA funds, not even using all of them, using a portion of them so that we have funds left over. 3 years ago, the board had engaged CT Mail, and they had, at a cost of $64,000, put together documentation and stamped drawings, and they administered the bid process that would include the addition, an improved HVAC system, and a new roof on Town Hall, and the bids came in at $1.1 million. We made the decision to reject all of those bids. We then went on to determine we would bid the projects individually. I asked the town attorney if they could administer the bid process for us so that we would not have to retain an engineer. We do need to have stamped drawings in order to build the addition on the back. The other engineer that the town deals with is Prime AE. They submit a quote of $48,900 to provide stamped drawings for 14 by 36 addition. In addition to my duties here, I am self-employed as a manufacturer's representative of a company called Northeastern Log Homes, their sister company, Classic Post and Beam. Any building that we provide stamped drawings. I asked Northeastern Log Homes if they could provide stamped drawings for us. And stamped meaning they would be stamped for New York State architect compliance with all applicable building codes, also would have all of the insulation requirements to comply with architectural standards. They told me that they could do that for $4,600. Because I am not an employee of them, I am a manufacturer's representative. I made it clear to them if this were even something commissionable from my standpoint, which it's not. If it were, I would not accept it. So the town attorney recommended that before we embark upon this, that we present this to the advisory panel Board of Ethics for the town. They have thoroughly reviewed that, and they have made the recommendation to leave the decision how that is addressed to the board, and that I would recuse myself because of the affiliation I have with them. So on that, I'm going to step out for a couple of minutes.
Okay. Whereas the town of Dwaynesburg Town Board has for several years been attempting to construct an addition to the town hall that will improve access to the existing building and provide restrooms, facilities on the lower floor, among other improvements that are in the public interest. Whereas the purpose of the project is to improve the town hall to enhance the provision of municipal services necessary to accommodate growth and to address issues identified during the COVID pandemic for which ARPA funds are being used. And whereas the town wishes to enter into professional service agreement with a professional engineer, Al Stahl, associated with Northeastern Log Homes, in parentheses, the engineer, for professional engineering services to supply, design, and construction drawings for the town hall addition. And whereas the town board received proposals or had work done in the past by other engineering firms, including AE Prime and CT Mail, respectively, copies of these are available in the town clerk's office. And whereas the town board has determined that the agreement is a professional services agreement, not subject to competitive bidding in accordance with General Municipal Law 104-B. And whereas the town deputy supervisor will negotiate and prepare a professional services agreement with the engineer with the assistance of the town's law firm. And whereas the town supervisor, with the advice of the Board of Ethics, has determined that since he commonly works with Northeastern Log Homes as an independent contractor, he will recuse himself from this matter and not be involved in the work being undertaken by the engineering. And whereas Chris Parslow, the town's building inspector, and Dale Warner will be responsible for working with the engineer and for developing the documents necessary to put the work on the addition out to bid and for supervising that work on behalf of the town. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board approves Northeastern Log Homes as an approved vendor and authorizes deputy town supervisor to execute professional service agreement attached here to it.
Second.
So discussion is pretty much what Bill just said, he's gonna recuse himself from being involved in any of that, and we'll take care of it. Saving the town a lot of money. Please call the roll, please. I forgot. Bill's not here. Bill's not here. Aye.
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 The thing you're sitting next to me.
Okay, before we go to privilege of the floor, does anybody have anything else I want to bring up?
The only other thing I wanted to bring up just briefly is that we had put together a request for proposals on the town hall roofing project for Dale and for Chris to use in seeking proposals for that work for the roof. So we distributed a copy of that, so you have it, so you see, what it looks like and what bases we have to cover in terms of prevailing wage and all the other requirements that the state imposes on any municipal entity that undertakes the work. So I just wanted to let everybody know we put that together and we've given it to them. And we're just gonna make sure that the proposals are looked at in terms of cost, obviously, but also make sure they have insurance, pay their workers what they're supposed to pay.
Comment on that. I mentioned the combined bid package that the town had solicited a few years ago that had been rejected. We collectively made a decision to bid each one of these items individually. As I mentioned, the town attorney will be handling bid process. I asked our building inspector if he would get some initial quote numbers on this, so that if it were to come underneath a threshold where we would not have to go through the advertising process for bids, where we could go out and solicit proposals, it would save us some time, hopefully get this done yet this year. So we have a specification that the building inspector and our former building inspector, now assistant building inspector, developed using all of the applicable codes, and it's will be a standing seam metal roof that will be put on this building. A roof like that should probably last longer than everyone, maybe with the exception of you, Andy, should last longer than everybody in this room. So that was the rationale for that. It'd be
All right, I'm your future.
So that's a discussion on that. So it's the numbers we got are really encouraging, very encouraging. Okay. We'll go to privilege of the floor. Let's start in here first before we go to Zoom. If you've got, you don't have anybody. Okay, well, we'll start here. Anyone would like to speak? I just asked you give your name and address. The floor is yours.
Lynn Bruning, 13388 Twinsburg Road. I tried to speak remotely at last 2 weeks ago meeting, the July 13th meeting. It was my error and I wasn't able to get through. So these are small things. On June 26, 2023, I submitted a Freedom of Information to the town clerk for the ethics board's meeting dates, agendas, meeting minutes, correspondence letters, and emails between January 1st, 2019 to June 26, 2023. On July 6, 2023, the town yielded 24 pages of documents, and this included the April 4th, 2019 annual report summarizing the ethics board activities in 2018. The Board of Ethics Law, Section 13A states, the Board of Ethics shall prepare and submit an annual report to the town board of the town of Waynesburg summarizing the activities of the Board of Ethics. The report may recommend changes to the text or administration of this local law. Has the Board of Ethics provided the town board with the annual reports for 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022? These documents were not found in the Freedom of Information response. Or did I make an error by not stating report in my June 26th Freedom of Information request? Also from the July 13th meeting, at the June 22, 2023 town board meeting, you entered executive session to discuss possible addition to the building and to seek legal counsel. The draft minutes posted on the town website reflect that the board entered executive session at 7:22 and came out at 7:55. The meeting minutes do not reflect if the board took an action or if no action was taken. The meeting minutes may lack accountability and transparency. And did the town board take any action at the June 22nd, 2023 executive session?
No, the board did not. Yeah, that was just, it should have been in the minutes.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
And now I've dropped things and now I'm confused. July 27th, what's today? Recordings of the town planning and zoning board meetings are posted on 4 different YouTube channels. The quality of the recent recordings does not allow the board members or public speakers to be heard. The board members' voices cut in and out, and speakers distant from the microphone cannot be heard. The videos do not appear to be a reliable record of town board activity. I list the 3 most recent videos and the quality. The recordings are of poor quality and do not provide the taxpayers with an accurate and transparent understanding of the town's actions. And this may open the door to impropriety and fraud. I request that the town purchase additional microphones and improve how the board meetings videos are made, and also that the audio recordings of meetings are also made. You've got a bunch of solar projects coming up and you're gonna want the records at some point, I would think. There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Kevin Gagnon. I live at 17 Thoroughbred Way, but I do not live in Twinsburg. I live in Park here. I'm here to just talk a little bit about an audit that we have working through across the state. I work at a volunteer group, 100% volunteers across the state. We have about 2,000 of us right now. It's called New York Citizens Audit. We foiled information about the state voter rolls and the county voter roll database. And we found some very alarming information that we want to get rectified. We have tried to get this rectified since we found the information. We've gone to Secretary of State, Attorney General, boards of elections, county boards of elections, sheriffs, DAs, dog catchers. Nobody has taken any level of interest in trying to find out the information that we're presenting, which is now, as of about 6 weeks ago, scientifically proven, peer-reviewed, and published in a journal by 3 external data scientists. That took us 6 months to work through that process to get that done. So the data is legit, it's real, it's New York State data. There's folks who like to say things about the data, and we have, to that fact, we have the boards of election wrote a letter to all the county boards of elections. And we have that in this documents, which I'll give you, which I also emailed you, I believe. And we have about a 16-page rebuttal to that document that points out the facts of what they are alleging and what our facts actually say, not about what they allege. That document from the State Board of Elections has put a lot of folks, a lot of county boards of elections folks getting nervous and feeling like our information is not true. However, it's never been proven that way. And we're happy to debate it, discuss it, talk about it, prove it, show people everything that we can in an effort for full transparency. We believe our information has been audited. When you get peer-reviewed, scientifically proven, and published in a journal, we consider that an audit. We're just asking, one of the things we're asking in our resolution, which we're asking you to pass, assign and pass, close by cities and towns have done that in Schenectady County, and others are in the process of doing that. They're considering the resolution. One of the things we're asking for is an audit, full end-to-end audit, meaning from registration all the way to vote of the 2022 general election. We say 2022 because we gave them the data about the problems that exist. All right, the information that's been peer-reviewed is that the database has been manipulated from an outside source, and it's been called a total loss of control data breach. So just think if your assessor's office here had a total loss of control data breach, I don't think the citizens would feel comfortable about getting those tax bills with the assessments, because total loss of control data breach, you don't know what people have done inside there. It's fully uncontrollable. So that's what has been scientifically proven. So we've shown that and given that to all those folks that I mentioned before prior to the 2022 general election, and they did nothing about it. So basically they certified, in our mind, certified an election in 2022 that was uncertifiable because the database that was built on was corrupted and manipulated, and someone from outside the system had gotten into it. So that's what we found. It's a very big situation around New York State. I will tell you, we're in the process of forming a large organization across the country based on what we're doing, or based on our model. There's not a lot of groups out there with 2,000 citizens across the state that are as active as we are and getting as many things. We have had this passed in multiple towns and cities around the state. And we've seen existence of this, what we call an algorithm, in 4 algorithms in the voter rolls in multiple other states. We believe it's gonna be in a lot of states. Either that, or we're very lucky because every state we've looked at, we've seen it. So could be that we're just the we'll see how that breaks out. It's a very big situation. What we need you folks to do, and thank you all for running for office and leading office, you are all the closest representatives to us. We're asking you to pass this resolution, much like towns have passed the resolution about the migrant issue, to ratchet that up to Schenectady County and then ratchet that up to the legislature. So people will begin to take notice of this and look at this information and say, if you want to disprove it, by all means disprove it. But that hasn't happened. They're just ignoring it. If they ignore it, it doesn't mean it's not true. So our information is true, it's accurate, The more cities and towns that pass it in Schenectady County, the more pressure we can put on the county legislature to pass it. And then we can begin to take the next step. That's one of our strategies. We have multiples, but that's one of them. So this has been presented across the state and passed in a lot of counties across the state. And like I said, including 2 close by cities to you guys. So what I have for you is, so there's 5 things we're asking for. One of them is an audit. Some other things deal with legal issues around. There is nothing that says when an audit has to occur in New York State. So there's some other things on the audit, but there's nothing crazy. We're not passing a resolution to ask to get rid of voting machines, or we think that would be great, but that's not what's in here. This is real basic stuff that people should want to do. Last time I presented at a town, it was actually quite time. They were debating whether what they were doing from their financial standpoint was an audit of their town's finances. So they had to be audited. Many departments within the county and the state have to be audited. All 501c3s have to be audited if you do over $1 million in revenue. All public companies need to be audited every year. This has never been audited. The state border rules have never been audited, and they don't want to have them. So that's all we're asking for amongst a few things. So I will give you our deficits report, which is about a 16-page report, which shows out all the violations of election law. It's well over 1 million violations of black letter election law that the state has been doing. It also contains the article about the peer-reviewed study that was published in a journal. This is an article about it. That study peer-reviewed is behind a paywall. If you want that, I can get you that. It's also going to contain the letter from the State Board of Elections to the county folks with our 16-page rebuttal. All this information is available on our website, auditny.com. We're very transparent. You can look at anything you want. We also did present as a group, our executive director and our head researcher, who's a PhD. And we're all citizens and we're all volunteer, and we have basically no funding. Happy to take some funding, but we don't have any. So it's not like we're funded by some crazy group or something. We're all volunteer citizens. They presented to the combined state election, Senate and Assembly Election Law Committee in the Legislative Office Building on May 1st. And we have all of our data. That's on our website. It's a 45-minute presentation. So everything is there available for you. It's all there, very transparent. We're also happy to answer any individual questions. I know there's public meeting laws and all those things, but we're happy to do whatever we need to do to meet with anybody, go over the data, and we will answer any question that you have about the data, how we got it, what it says, anything like that. Basically, we're San Jose State will go anywhere, put anybody, and we'll talk to anybody about this thing, because we believe it's a big problem. So these are 5 copies. I apologize.
I
Attorney
get it
and town clerk. Okay, those are all there for you, and I appreciate that. And I believe I did email them to you. I think they might have gone through. I don't know if I have everybody's email address correct from the town, but that's what we do. So, and I would appreciate if you consider that, and then at an upcoming future meeting, we could pass that, because you would be the multiple town in the county to pass it, which would really give us some emphasis to do something at the county level.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do we have anything else? Yes, sir. Bill.
Bill Park, I'm Maranatha Way in Delancey. I went and looked at their presentation on all of the problems with voter rolls and the like, and I would suggest take a good look at it. I would support it. I think it's something that we need to clean up. They offered a lot more data. Obviously, he's only here for a few minutes. They went into a long presentation, several hours, really showed us a lot. Anybody that wanted to go to this showed us a lot of problems with the voter rolls and people getting votes that they shouldn't get. We don't know who or why or how, but that's what this is all about. So anyway, I would appreciate it. I would support you signing that.
Thank you. But you know, an audit is done at almost every level throughout all of government. So just even if we as a board bring this up, you're not pointing a finger at anybody. You're asking for a transparency and accountability. Yeah. Anybody have anything else?
I missed.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
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 probably a good thing.
Thank you very much. See you next time.